Good morning. It is Friday, December 6th. So this weekend it's a little bit of a turning point. Essentially, we are turning a ship, and it takes a really long time to get that ship turned around. And tonight we're going to see a lot of people fighting that turning, at least the beginning of a lot of people fighting that turn. Mars stations retrograde this afternoon. Actually at, let me see, 4:33 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay, now Mars retrograde is very it gets a bit scorpionic. So basically, what happens is that we're taking that active energy, the wanting to do something, the war nature, the angry nature of Mars, and it's being turned inward. And because Mars only stations retrograde once every like 2-ish years, and it's our longest personal planet retrograde, so it really digs in deep, but it doesn't happen very often. So like we spend 2 years basically just out in the world ignoring our own stuff and putting everything out there, and then when it stations retrograde, we got to look inward. A lot of that anger gets directed at ourselves. But because people don't like to do inner work and don't like to actually pay attention to themselves and be honest with themselves, a lot of times that anger at yourself will get projected out into the world around you. So with it being in Leo, this could be dramatic. It could be egotistical. It could be very look at me type of energy. When it gets projected out into the world, a lot of people are going to become very, very defensive and quite dramatic about it. The moon is in Aquarius the remainder of today, which means that our subconscious and our emotional self is in alignment with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So we're probably feeling a little uncomfortable internally. We might be, I know, like I've been tense for no reason, basically ever since it entered Aquarius. It's supposed to be shaking things up, and again, because it's retrograde, it's internal, so it should be shaking up your sense of values, your what it is that you're putting importance on, right? Then tonight, Venus will move into Aquarius, going into a mutual reception with that Uranus retrograde. And the first thing Venus does is it conjuncts Pluto. This is going to create some intense situations when it comes to your relationships, your friendships, your social life. If you work in like any kind of industry where you got to deal with crazy people, particularly the inebriated kind, a bartender, a bouncer, a first responder, or like work in an emergency room type of setting, today might be this might be a really rough night for you. The weekend in general might be very rough. So make sure that you're taking time for yourself if that is the case. But the last time this happened, and this is what's happening right now, we are not repeating, but revisiting something that may have started type of situation. It's one of those circle things back in February to March of this past year. So Valentine's Day week, actually, we had Mars conjunct Pluto and Venus conjunct Pluto. And now we have Venus conjunct Pluto again, and Mars stationing retrograde to move back into that opposition. So it's not actually going to be opposite until January 1st, New Year's Day, actually. But it's definitely going to start building. That tension is going to start building to whatever it was that happened in February. Okay. We also have had a new moon in March that on Sunday we're going to have the first quarter moon too. So that's an adjustment to whatever it was that started in mid-March. So whatever was going on in that time of period, you're probably going to be facing either the same situation revisiting or a similar situation coming up over this weekend. Just keep that in mind. So the other thing we have happening today, because today is just full of everything, Mercury's in a square with Saturn. Number one, do not drive intoxicated in any way, shape, or form, because you will likely end up in jail or worse. Anytime Saturn's involved, it could involve authority figures. So just keep that in mind. Hold on one second. I forgot to turn my heat off before I hit record. And it gets too loud. That Mercury squaring Saturn, though, this could be like you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they're not listening. Mercury is retrograde, so this could be from the past as well. It's reviewing something for sure. But this could also come along the lines of like somebody coming back and saying, hey, I want to talk. And then another person having boundaries and saying, no, we're not doing this anymore type of thing. And then not being taken well. It's definitely a difficult situation when it comes to conversations. Things are going to be ended and they're, dead in their tracks. Okay. So just keep that in mind. You could see a lot of breakups tonight, into the weekend, honestly, and people not taking that well. So keep that in mind. What else? That's pretty much today. Just if something gets shut down on you, remember, if you're the one trying to go back and talk to somebody and they're shutting you down, remember they don't have an obligation to listen to you. You've got to take the no and move on. They don't have to listen to your explanation if they don't want to. Just keep that in mind. Work with the energies, not against it, okay? Take this opportunity of Mars retrograde to do the inner work. Therapy, shadow work. I offer a shadow work astrology reading if you want to do that. Also, make sure that you're, self-help books, anything like that. Just make sure that you're being self-aware and you're listening, you're checking in with yourself throughout this time. Anytime you feel that anger arise, sit with it, figure out where it's coming from, and work through it rather than projecting it out onto the people around you. Tomorrow, the sun will oppose Jupiter retrograde. So this is kind of continuing this like old conversations and people coming back around. Venus is still going to be in that conjunction with Pluto until, for about the first half of the day tomorrow. Tomorrow night, what time does it happen? Tomorrow night, Neptune stations direct, or tomorrow afternoon, 4:42 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So when Neptune starts stationing direct, we're going to get real tempted to ignore reality again. We're going to get very tempted to fall into any type of escapism, substance abuse, put the blinders back on, the rose-colored glasses, and just fall into whatever gives you the warm and fuzzies, especially because the moon will have moved into Pisces. It will be in Pisces Saturday and Sunday. So there's going to be this real desire to just go back into whatever is comfortable and gives you the warm and fuzzies. Any place that you can pretend like everything is fine, you might be tempted to do that. Make sure that you are listening to your intuition during this time. Sunday is where we really need to kind of sit with ourselves and check in with the first quarter moon telling us where we need to make adjustments from whatever started in mid-March. And this moon being in Pisces, it's going to make those conjunctions with both Saturn and Neptune. So we really need to make sure that we're checking in with ourselves. We're listening to our intuition. We're focusing on moving forward and the growth that we've made and not getting angry at ourselves for whatever happened in the past, okay? That's a lot in the planets. Cards-wise, the energy of the weekend is Seven of Wands. Everybody's going to be defensive. Everybody's going to have a guard up. Make sure that you're protecting yourself. What we are focusing on is the chariot. Where are you going? Where have you been? What progress have you made? What is your goals? Focus on that. We're not going to focus on the past. Yes, you need to work on yourself from past situations, but the focus needs to be forward nonetheless, okay? What we're avoiding is the Eight of Swords. Don't get stuck in that mental prison. Don't go back in your head. We need to make sure that we're staying present, okay? Yes, you can do the work. You can do that inner work without getting lost in it. Definitely make sure that you're staying present and not getting stuck in, your head. You're not moving back into that. My brain just stopped. the fantasy land, the la la land, wherever you go to ignore reality. Don't do that this weekend, okay? Really pay attention to what is going on and what you need to do with it, but move slowly and intentionally in that. Bottom of the deck is the World, so this is closing out an old cycle so that we can start fresh, start new, okay? Clarifiers for our Seven of Wands. That was like a whole ass handful here. We have Seven of Pentacles and the Lovers. So, we are protecting what we are building from other people. Okay, Lovers isn't necessarily like romantic. It can be any type of connection with others. It is the Gemini card. It can be communication as well. Just protecting what you've been working on and the growth that you're making from other people and their ideas and their opinions of it. We also have King of Swords and Six of Swords, speaking up for yourself and making sure that you're continuing to move forward into a better mental state, making sure that you're standing your ground and saying what needs to be said in order to be able to keep moving forward. Okay. Clarifiers for the Chariot. Maybe. I like how it goes from like throwing a whole bunch of cards to throwing like no cards. There we go. Oof. King of Pentacles and the Shadow side. So the Shadow side here, this is the Devil card in the traditional deck. Okay. All right, stick with me here. So when we have the King of Pentacles, this is all about, being stable, being comfortable, right? And the shadow side or the Devil, this is about those addictions or obsessions, the things that control you. It can even be like the mental obsessions, people, places, and things that control your mind, they control your actions, that are holding you back and keeping you, like it's keeping you in chains, basically, like keeping you from moving forward. Is it money that's doing that? Is it like keeping up with the Joneses type of thing that's keeping you from moving forward on the Chariot? What is it where are you comfortable that's keeping you from moving forward? Venus and Uranus retrograde in mutual reception here is really going to be highlighting that, especially with that conjunction to Pluto. This is going to be, and it's at 0 degrees, right? So it's a new beginning, like really new beginning. This is really going to be shaking up that sense of security. When this happened back in February, I'm going to tell you, the only thing that kept going through my mind when I was at work, I actually ended up walking out of my job under this transit last time. What kept going through my mind was, this is not what we were created for. Working ourselves half to death just to barely make it, which I was doing far better than barely making it, I will admit that. But being stressed out all the time and angry all the time and just frustrated and not having the time to spend time with my kids, spend time with my family, take care of myself. My health was quickly declining. My blood pressure was shooting up. And I just thought, this is not what we were created for. And I just could not do it anymore. And eventually one day everything just hit a breaking point and I walked out, right? So you will probably during this time be feeling that just rising in you and making you feel uncomfortable. There's something with this whole need to have all this money and this big savings account and this big retirement account. I have watched people with giant retirement accounts go flat broke because they couldn't take care of themselves while they were working and they ended up sick. In the end, you can always make more money. You can never get your time back, okay? So where are you wanting to head towards? What is your goals? What is your end goal? Where is your happiness? What are you moving towards? And how is this, I need to keep up with the Joneses mindset, greedy mindset, holding you back? Keep that in mind throughout this weekend. Pay attention to what's coming up in that realm. Let's see, clarifiers for our Eighters. That's funny. The High Priest is on the bottom, actually. This is the Hierophant in the traditional deck. This is very much about keeping the status quo, right? So this is all about just doing what everybody else expects you to do. That's what's driving this, is that status quo. What does everybody else expect me to do? And Believe it or not, people actually don't think that much about it. You don't have to do that. You can really do what makes you happy. Okay, so clarifiers for our Eight of Swords. We've got a Knight of Cups and a Page of Cups. Okay. So, do not go back into your mental prison, right? With some Captain Save-A-Ho innocent, I'm trying, don't run back to a comfortable relationship or friendship, whatever, that you know is love bombing, that you know is not, this is like these two together is I'm here for a good time, not for a long time, right? And we could be very, very tempted under these transits to go back to that in order to escape whatever it is that's got us messed up, right? Whatever it is that's hard. Let's not do that this weekend. We've got to deal with our stuff to move forward. Things are going to get real wonky starting next summer out in the world. So we need to make sure that we as individuals are in a good space to be able to navigate that. Bottom of the deck is Queen of Pentacles. So there is still like this like greedy, I just want to be comfortable and I need to make all the money so that I can be comfortable. Right now, we're watching the world around us do a lot of weird stuff. And it's really shaking up that sense of stability, right? And it's got a lot of people grappling for, I need more money just in case all this happens, type of energy, like trying to prepare. But there's not really a way to prepare for this, okay? The way to prepare for it is to make sure that you as an individual are in a good space to be able to help those that are going to need it when things do hit the fan, okay? So just take care of yourself this weekend, slow down, focus on the future, deal with whatever comes up as it comes up, and keep your guard up. Protect yourself from those that are probably going to be reacting to the energy rather than working with the energy.